Good morning, everyone. Welcome along. Welcome to Steel Horse Station. Hope everyone's fine and dandy on this, Tuesday morning for me, Monday afternoon for the UK and the US and Europe. Hope everyone's having a good time, that your week has got off to a good start. Mine has been fairly uneventful, I have to say, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I can see a few folks sort of popping in that could be lurking around, which is great to see. So great to have you here. Let's just jump across to Newlands. Everything appears to be in the green there. So we are on Newlands again. Our stream 10 hours or so ago was on the Oaks, if you want to catch up with that one. But for today, what we have to do, the end of the last episode, if you missed us here last week, we were expanding the farm. So we now own these fields. So we need to go over there and have a bit of a look as to where we can mark out and start to sort things out. So we'll do that pretty darn quickly. We have the pigs at a manageable level, and they've got some food, but in line with some of our discoveries, I'm thinking we need to... so it's this land here on the left is now ours. There's a few trees on it that need to be sorted out. And so what I figured might be a good idea is if we start, I know it runs up to the freeway. So if we start here at the freeway's edge and go down as far as it'll let us plow, that'll kind of give us an idea to work on. What do we want here? Yeah, that side, that way around with the plow will be good. Yeah, so I'm thinking with our pigs, we might just jump across it, look at those. We put the pig extension yard in and they bred as planned. And what I'm starting to think is the best move might be to sell the older ones, which are 13 months old. They've done their job. They've reproduced, given us a heap of piglets. And then in the other pen, potentially, because they were overstocked, they're just coming back to health, which they should recover through the course of the day. Potentially take a range out of here just to get the stocking levels back. They're not going to reproduce now for a few months, so we've got a little bit of time to sort that out. G'day, John Senior. Hope you had a good day at work. But let's get started on cutting this field out so we know where we've got to remove trees from. And let's put you down. And I think we'll just sort of follow the contour here. I think we've got a fence down at the bottom of the off-ramp here, so that's that. I'm proud of myself. Realised it's an off-ramp, not an on-ramp, even though it's going in this direction. We could probably get away with leaving that tree at the edge. Okay, and that's as far as I get, it says. Let's have a look where we are on the map. Good day, night, long day. There you go. Some of them, some days at work feel like that, I'm sure. Yep, so I'm right at the corner of the field, and that direction, if we turn, is probably something like see if we can get a heading there that makes some sense to us to get a straightish line. We're going to be 180 maybe? Is it due south? Could be. Could indeed be due south. I reckon. Okay, so let's just move the butt of the tractor across a little bit. See if we can manage to find a heading that misses that tree. 180, that looks pretty good. It's letting us go, so let's head on down that heading. So the plan here with this field is we're going to do corn in this one. All corn, I think. Just to try and get a better volume of corn that have some choices to handle our pig population. That seems to be the thing we burn through the fastest. Now, a bit later on, if Scooter pops in, he sent me a, oops, off the angle, and we must just about be at the edge of the area. In terms of these tracks, where are we sitting? Yeah, we must be just about at the edge of the area we own. So this track at the bottom is the edge of our field. That one over there. So what we'll do is pick it up again. I was saying about Scooter, he sent me an abattoir mod, although it's not labeled that way, meat processing facility. So I have added that to the map. We'll go and have a look at it a bit later on, but I kind of scouted around and decided this is the BGA up here. So I put the meat processing plant, decided this could be a little heavy industrial area over here. So I've placed it, and I've also put a sell point somewhere along here. Yeah, meat processing plant is what it's labeled in the description, so we'll go and have a look at that later if he comes along. The way I've set it up at the moment, we don't own it or the sell point, so we'll just see how that goes. Now, angle do I need to relocate this looks like I do. And so the $64 question is, if I go due, what's it going to be, east from here, can I go straight across to the highway? Something like so. And will it take out that? Yes, it will take out that road. Okay, so good. So we can relocate the road. Whoops. I'm a little bit. Let's try that angle. No. That one. Might have to experiment with where the edge of our land is here. Maybe it's 75 degrees across to the road. Certainly seems to be happier with that line. We'll make a bit of a farm track crossroads here, I think, so we'll go about it. So what's everybody been up to? There's quite a few of you in. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Has anybody been doing anything interesting on their Monday? Or you're all content to lurk in the background? Watch me attempt to draw straight lines here, or straightish lines. Let's just across a bit, give ourselves a little bit of a verge, seeing it's a major-ish road. So now what we need to be doing is thinking about getting rid of all of these trees. We'll put a bunch of them in that chipper to top up because we've been getting a bit low on the wood chips that we use to make the taro, or taro. Going to be a steepish upward incline in this corner by the looks. Right, so that's a perimeter. Chair yoga this morning and then meetings. Chair yoga just sounds interesting. Sounds like a compromise for people of my flexibility. So we don't need to do any more ploughing until we get a few of these trees out. So let's turn you... let's actually lower you down and turn off. Now we're going to require... some other tools. Are you instructing the chair yoga, John, or are you participating, or simply just organizing, or all three? It sounds like a perfectly sensible idea. Now I'm thinking if we drop the weight off. Put the Tafn on. Then we require the trailer base. Which we can grab from over here. In February, we'll, while I'm up here, we'll have a bit of a... And it makes perfect sense. I haven't seen anything advertised locally here along those sort of lines, but I know they have all sorts of community center activities around the place. Lots of one thing that's quite popular here for all ages is water aerobics. Let's put you very easy on the joints, and they do it in some of the community center pools in a what is referred to as a hydrotherapy pool, where the water temperature's up at around quite pleasant 30 odd degrees, so it's not cold. And the pool's only now let's see here, get the right one off. Gotta make sure it doesn't poke over the edge now that the train's running. Disconnect you. Yeah, so it'd only be sort of thigh deep, if that. 30 degrees centigrade, correct? Yes, not 30 degrees Fahrenheit. You just sort of tip the ice off the top. No, the whole ice bath thing has gotten popular also, but not really my cup of tea. I find, I guess I had enough treatment on ankles over the years in ice buckets that I just find it all rather painful. Let's see here, connect you on, close you up. Now we will require some other bits of equipment, but we'll sort those out in due course, I think. I think we'll start up at the freeway edge and work back towards us. There's not an enormous number of trees on this plot, so it shouldn't be too much of a hardship to get them moving. Where do we want to marshalling point somewhat central-ish would be a reasonable idea. This looks like as good a spot as any. Now let's start getting rid of some. If it's standing, let's clobber it. One of the other things I wanted to try today was, in addition to having a look at Scooter's mod, or at least having him hopefully tell us about it, because I don't think we can afford to buy it just at the minute. We might be able to sell some product to it. Is I'm curious to see, it's also interesting, there's a few trees on this map that have had the lower limbs cut, which I'd never seen before. And I certainly didn't do it. But what I wanted to try was nothing to do with the activity we're doing at the moment, but it's in here. I wanted to try this dinky little, it's only 250 bucks, so we'll buy that, and when we're over at the shop we'll pick it up. But it's a hand sprayer, and what I'm curious about is, because every now and again it happens and it bugs me, if you have a look over here, not so bad in the canola, but on the edge, you can see down here on the edge of the wheat fields, there's just the odd weed that's popped up. Not many of them. Right, and there's a couple that are in the crop, and so I'm curious to see if we can use that hand sprayer to kill them, because it's often struck me as weird for a single field, single weed growing in a field to have to then go and use a piece of equipment to get it out. Makes much more sense that I could just wander out there with the sprayer and deal with it by hand. So I want to see if that works, in which I'm expecting it will be fine. And then I'm interested to see if with precision farming it counts as spot spraying or not. So we'll have a bit of a look at that later on, there on the other side. A couple of annoying tree types on here, so we'll have to cope with those. Going up the hill. Feels a bit destructive. Guess probably because it is. Now that oak tree there, is that in or out? It's just in. Well, that's interesting, John. So our little test will confirm what you've seen. I suspected it may, because I couldn't really see how it would be smart enough, the code would be smart enough to do anything other than a crude, you know, have you had a sprayer dispensing product inside this boundary, but we'll I figured it was worth testing, because then for $250 it's a steal. I'm not suggesting I'd use it on a field where there was no weeds, just to get the score up. I'm not kind of interested in that approach. Okie dokie. Are you en route? You're in. Well, let's see if we can get you to fall out. That would make life easier. So we can get the ones on the outside anytime. We decided you are on the fence side, so we'll leave you there. Only a few more to go. Goodness me, we've had an awful lot of people pass through this morning. YouTube must be promoting me disproportionately at the minute. Very few are hanging around, but normally we would get, you know, around about 100 to 120 views in a whole stream, and we're at 138. Some, what, half an hour in, so very interesting. I watch DJ, but not regularly. What's happening here? There we go. So I tend to use DJ when I'm looking for a piece of information about something, and I see if he's got anything to add. I like Mr. Sealy P for my mod reviews. Okay. Right. Getting there. Just about got them all over. There's one over there. Enough to be going on with, I think. almost at the point where you see one where you think you've been in here. Didn't I cut that tree down before? So let's... back over near that, worked our way back to the tractor. This one would be a good example where it's like, I'm sure I cut that tree down. Maybe it's just because the trees all look a bit similar. Well, they are all similar. There's, you know, 10 or 15 different trees used on the map, but multiple times. Okay. How's that looking? One still standing over there. Two still standing over there. Oh no, you're out of the map. Good. So that's a bit treeless. So let's unplug you. And let's see here. How well behaved are you going to be? Let's find out. Is that going to be? No, we. Alright. Gonna turn you on. That would be a good start, wouldn't it? Not object too heavy, of course it is. So let's see. Let's pop you down. Can I push you? Of course, there's a tree there. Really what I'm anxious to be doing here is to try and get them out of the area to the extent that I can, and then we can clear up later. Pine / spruce ones should be a bit better behaved in terms of pushing around, at least generally that's my experience. Stumps in the ground always get in the way, but we can go and grab a device to deal with those. over there. There you go. Sometimes, John. There is an issue because the trees aren't all defined properly on this map. It doesn't always work, and for a dose of realism in the gameplay, I like to have the equipment to do the job properly. So we do have a stump grinder. It doesn't take very long. Sometimes it's quicker actually, because I can't remember which model stump grinder I've got in here. The one I've got on Silver Run is actually quicker than Lumberjack. Lumberjack sort of takes 4 or 5 seconds to grind out the stump, whereas I can whiz around in the skid steer with the mulcher on it, and they're sort of touch and go. So I don't tend to do a lot of that on camera with Silver Run, simply because it's noisy in the skid steer. Yeah, it could use tree be gone. I don't do stones, so I guess this is my view of that's an awkward tree. We won't worry about stripping him. And in fact, whilst the trees are different, some of the short list of real farm jobs I've done include clearing, maybe not on this scale, but certainly getting troublesome eucalypts out of paddocks, and burning off the resultant brush. Come on, turn left. The only trouble with this tool is it sometimes decides that the blade's just low enough to disable the steering. And there we go, we've got a reasonable strip cleared up to the top there. Get you out of the way. And certainly my experience of doing anything like this on a real farm was very much one of, you sort of cut the tree down and into pieces small enough for the equipment to move, and then do something along these sort of lines to move the trees to the side of the field or out of the way, so that you could do the main job, let the foliage die off, and then come back and deal with it in the fullness of time. So there's an element of that plan here. What have we got here? Let's keep going up there. Let's check we've got everything off in the top corner. Needs to go. Of course it rotates. Oh, come on. Physics, 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 folks. Consistent application. I can't get hooked on the branches, but they can get hooked on the ground. Interesting. Come on, off you go. Trying to guess where the center of gravity of the tree is. Let's push you off the bottom. Code can do for the minute. What we got here? We got a couple that need to get sorted out across there. Right, so need enough clear around the edge to be able to start the tractor on course play, and then I can get the stump grinder sorted while the tractor is doing its bit. There we go. Oomph. Okay, well that might be enough trees off the field for a minute just to get ourselves started. So let's tap across. That is the machine we require. We want to take you off. Can't remember if I need that adapter on or off for the stump grinder. That weight's a bit heavy when we're not lifting stuff. Yeah, we just had 2 little weeds pop up in there. That was a good example. Well, the stump grinder actually needs a PDO by the looks. It's a long while since we've used it on here. Front PDO on here. No. So you can tootle across. We'll use you as and when we need to. What we might go and do though, let's have a look. That train really whizzes around there. Let's have a look at our. So that's our seed production. That's feed and sugar beet cut, seeds, February sale, vegetables. We won't do those. I'll tend to do those off camera. Sugar. The best sugar price is July. Trees are all up to date. So if we go to here and have a look at our sugar, max is way better than everywhere else, even though the best. So the economics of sugar on this map look like they're a bit tangled up. So Max is already offering higher than the best price. So what I'm thinking we'll do is let's grab a trailer load. We know a little bit of shoehorning we can get this into Max's, but we can go over to the store and pick up our little sprayer and have a look at this where I've put this factory in. There's plenty of sugar in there, so we should get another couple spawn in a minute, I think. Yeah. 6 is all it's going to put on. That's all right. Let's head into town. Noticed on FSG's Discord this morning he's skiing in an area that doesn't look entirely different to this. Obviously he's above the snow line, but somewhat more snow than this, Mark. Yes. Welcome along. Great to have you in. His shot was very black and white. The train managed to get out of sight before we got to the point where I haven't quite got the track, the spline lined up properly. Now let's see how we're going to do this. If I recall correctly, actually what we're going to do is not fiddle around, because those garden lights are a problem. And there we go. Max needs a little hand cut. And they sure go through a fair bit of sugar at their reception business. Must be rangs all round. So I'll just pop into the store here. Pick up our... I think I can equip it as a... There we go. Oh, I get in it. Okay. I'm guessing I can't get in a vehicle, so I don't equip it as a hand tool. That's interesting. Why are you going backwards now? Cranky. G'day. So there I am there. So how do I rotate? I can go backwards. Okay. Does it want to steer that way? Interesting. Is that strapped on? Hopefully, we'll find out in a minute. Now, I think so here's where this is the sell point for the meatworks. So I tried to just sort of blend it in a little bit there and give them a few bits and pieces. So I don't think that looks too bad. I don't. What we could do actually is come over here with a. Oh no, that's not going to work. So they're both owned by the map. In terms of what shows up on here, so we've now got some meat products. So I'm assuming these meat products can be sold at the sell point. What doesn't show up is raw livestock, well, individual livestock. And so what I'm curious about is where I was hoping Scooter might pop in is up here. I've put the abattoir / meat processing plant. It's labeled as a meat processing plant, so I've that in up. And we don't own this currently. We can ultimately buy it, but it's typical production price, 75 or 80 grand. So I just I tucked it in here. Tried to make it a little bit sympathetic. It smells a lot better than the only version of it I've seen in real life, I tell you. Is that the high point? No. It wasn't. I didn't do much investigation to see which sell point is which. There you go, 85,000. So what I'm not sure of, given it's owned by the map now, is whether I can just deliver produce to it or not. Not produce, livestock to it. So we might go and investigate that. We might put a couple of pigs in the trailer and run back over and see if by any chance we can actually sell them. Or whether it only works if I own it and I can use it to turn my own livestock into, which is a possibility. I'm just not sure how it actually operates. As I say, I was hoping Scooter might be able to pop in today, but we'll see. Anyway, that's another addition to the map. The thing is, there's no actual animal trigger on it that I can see when I turn triggers on. And so as a consequence, I'm not sure how you move animals there. If that's in fact the way it's intended to work. Let's go back and take this over. We can do the little experiment. Watch out for the ladies slalom on the crossings. And I'm gonna make it. Yep, you stop. We can do our little experiment with the herbicide. Looks very barren. So we've got a couple of trees. Oh, that sounds like an awful combination. Yeah, the only one I'm familiar with is way back at the beginning of my career. I made a few visits to Uncle Ben's, which is now this is, might be better off leaving it on the trailer because it's so slow to move. Uncle Ben's make dog food, and they're on the border of Victoria and New South Wales. They're part of the Maize Corporation, and because it's sort of 3 hours drive away, regional centre, you had to go and call on them. It was an overnight trip. You typically went up the night before and you had dinner with them. Yeah, what have we got here? One of those is the product I need. So that's herbicide, right. And so if it turned into a... get out there. If it turned into a big night, of course, then there was a bit of a hangover feeling. Okay, we've got 8 litres of herbicide. If I have to walk over there, it's going to take a while. So let's get out of there. Put you back on. And so going out to Uncle Ben's the next morning, feeling a little bit dusty, and then, you know, driving past the factory to get to the office complex was just unpleasant. Now, before we do anything, let's have a look at our precision farming scores here. Now, it's telling us that this field is 63, and I can never remember which bars are which. Weed control is at 22.5. That's the third bar. Okay. And then if we jump out and get into there. Well, oh, okay. Now I've gotten into a different camera view. Okay, that's a bit easier. It was an accident. I didn't do anything. I just fell off the edge of the trailer. So now... G'day, Bruce Salter. How are you, sir? Welcome along. We're just conducting a little experiment with my handheld pest control here. So it's on. Unload, turn on is B, just the same as normal. And turn it off. There we go. We'll go down and do the one. That's a lot easier to control in this view than it was in first person, that's for sure. No, I think actually that's what I'm wearing in this, on this map. Oh, in fact, might be my standard. I think I might have equipped all of that for Silver Run. There we go. So we've now done some weeds. So if we come back, the environmental score has decreased. For reasons that make no sense to me whatsoever. So it's reset something, but the weed control score has actually gone backwards slightly. Okay, that's not the result I was expecting. So it's killed the weeds. If I get out of there. Yeah. Well, it's still saying the weeds are still there. That's interesting. We might have to just see what happens with the fullness of time. He's not too slow. Let's go back up to the... There's nothing in the sugar beet field. Might as well while I'm equipped. At least deal with the ones that have popped their head out. At least I look the part. We'll get there in a minute. I think there's just a couple of weeds that are up in the mid, just in front of me here. Yep, there they are. B for on. I'm guessing you're not talking about every sperm is sacred, John. There are many memorable ones. Yes, that was what I figured you were talking about. Exit out of there. You can just sit there like so. I might slide you in a little bit so I don't skittle it and drive all over the farm with it. Now, let's jump back to, of course, it's the last tractor. Got all our digestate spread, so that was good. So we'll take the trailer back up. Oh, the other thing you might notice, I've got a couple of stacks of mineral feed there. I gave some mineral feed to the cows just to balance their feed out. We'll check all their livestock situation in just a second, seeing as we're gonna go and just experiment with a couple of pigs. Right. Now, let's have a look here. Aminals. So let's just check the cows first. So the cow food situation, so the mineral feed I just topped up a little bit. So they're in good shape. We're not going to get any more for a 3 or 4 months, four months or so. So that's fine. And they're producing milk at a fairly steady rate, which is good to see. Now we're at the free range pigsty and the healths are coming back, but they're not. What have we got? No, you're up to 100%. You haven't you're about to, you've just reached puberty, so you haven't actually reproduced yet. So I don't really want to sell you guys. I don't think you're the same. What's that? 38. I think from what I remember, Scooter telling me, there's a minimum age that the abattoir takes. So what we might do, they're getting a bit low on feed regardless of the situation, so we're going to have to solve for that. The sheep, the volume of sheep is increasing quite steadily, as you can see. We haven't checked in on those for a while. They've got plenty of food. They've got plenty of water. We're about to get some more. There goes the train. So over the next couple of months, we will get quite a few more sheep. So we might be looking to sell our original holding of sheep in a few months' time. Let's pull this out of here. Because what I'm thinking is the ones that have just reproduced in the extension yard are worth about 700 a piece, I think. If we just sell them at the animal market. They've already reproduced once, so how about if we take them across and see what the meatworks says, and if worst case we'll just take them down to the animal market and sell them. Somewhere along here is a trigger. Here we go, 690. Oops. 695, right. So we'll take all of those, move them into the trailer, yes. Come on. Swing out, swing out, swing out. That was close. Let's tootle across to the meatworks. I'll have to put a drive point out there. We'll put that tree on the road. As you can see, Cranky, we've got the new field underway. Got it marked out, and the trees are largely down. Just got to get them off, and we'll be good. That's the plan. We need heaps of corn. These feeding these pigs is at scale, and particularly with the reproduction rates they've got, is a big chore. So I reckon we need a good corn supply. Come through the roundabout on the correct side this time. Pinch sorted us out. The question here is, I haven't looked at the XML for this to get any insight into how it is supposed to work. So let's imagine that it's intended you would deposit stock at the front. And maybe it does. Unload animal. Do I want to unload it? Maybe I do. Animal type does not support unloading. Okay, so that's just assuming if it's horses, there's no trigger there. Do I need to be closer? No. Let's turn on. Interactive zone markers. So that might be an outgoing spawn point. Let's have a look around the building here. Now, let's try dropping it there. Means I put my stockyard on the right side if this is the drop point. Even if I should have come in the other way. You're going to get the trigger there. No. Let's try and do this the other way. So one of a couple of things could be going on. The most likely is that this is not set up to operate as owned by the map production. It's one you've got to actually own as a player in order to have all of the right things, in which case we need another, yeah, that's we need another 80,000 to or 85,000 to buy it. So I'm guessing that's the case, and if so, that's not a problem. We'll have that amount by next week without doing anything dramatic. And in the meantime, we might see Scooter pop in and be able to ask him some questions. For now though, we know we're always going to have a steady supply of pigs, so that's not a problem. We might just head to the dispatch you to the animal dealer. Can you actually get there from here on your own? Nope. Let's have a look. What have you got in terms of... Let's figure out where you... Oh, actually... Fix that another time. Let's drive back to where you must be disconnected somewhere along here. Guessing probably at the roundabout. That's not my train line, that's theirs. I haven't edited this side of it. While we're here, let's just... Do you not want to... won't be helping. There's one. That. And that's better. Right. Can you get to the animal dealer now? Nope. So there's still a break down the bottom here, would be my guess. I haven't done the auto drive course on this. Oh, look, it's terrible up the end here. You can see already. So these are just the splines that the map maker put in. But they don't actually, they're in lots of little sections. So map maker's kind of put a bunch in, but hasn't actually connected them up. You come off there, you come around there, right. Now can you get there? No, so you're still not connected up here somewhere. Yep, right at the end. Nice. Now you should be good. There you go. Except now the next problem's gonna be we've got to get there first because that tree, the road, is going to be in the way. Will do. Right. What was I doing? So now let's just move a couple more of these trees off the edge of the fields. Come on. There we go. There's our man on the way to the animal dealer. Come on. Turn. There we go. Right. We should be able to duck up to the animal dealer now and sell those piglets. Or middle stage. Oh. We were struggling a bit to get up the hill. Almost there. Almost. It will be very interesting. So I'm quite looking forward to it. See how it fits in. I'll open it up and have a look at the XML before next week to see if I can figure out what I'm doing. I might place it on another map just so that I can mess with it a little bit beforehand, but I was hoping that Scooter would be available and pop in and walk us through it. Let's drive forward just a whisker. We'll sell all of those. There we go, 11,000 bucks. Thanks for coming. In terms of the other pigsty, I think what we'll do is just take a trailer load of the younger pigs to sale, just to get the numbers down. Because for next week we'll have enough money to buy that meatworks if we want it. If people think that's a good idea. Because we've got trees over there, we'll sell a couple of loads of timber. I can do that during the week, load those up, and we'll have more produce from that garden centre by the start of the next game day. So wait for the train to go past. It's easier to back in when I'm not trying to dodge it. Just going to get you around the silo and aim up for that. Didn't get you around the silo, did I? No. Just need you on the left-hand side of that door, and we can do that. So I'm thinking, how many of these have we got? Doesn't tell us. 4-month-old at 283. 5 months old at 329. Yes, they are fiddly. I agree, Cranky. So I'm thinking we sell half of the 5 month old. So if we select those, we've clearly got 20 of them. Probably more. Let's get out of there. Check. 5 month olds. 33 and 41. So we can sell 20 landrace and 16 black pied. Let's sell 20 landrace. And we'll send you up to the dealer. Save that while we're thinking about it. Just turn off the zone markers. So we've got some produce for the market. Trees coming slowly. About half a pallet of trees. What we got in there? Some bamboo. Haven't got any aloe vera. What's happening over here? Let's just check. Okay, that's why, because we're out of solid fertilizer. I'm pretty sure I've got a truck parked over here because I was supposed to remember that we needed to put solid fertilizer in. There we go. I need to figure out how to put a delay in that, because that's a circuit that's entirely on the map. It runs all the time. I don't know how, if there's a way to, in the coding for the train, to tell it to pause somewhere for a period of time. It was a little closer than I anticipated. What do I want here? I want you, and I. So that one's full. We'll go down the skinny one. One's full. That one needed it. And there's 1500, which means the man's up at the animal dealer. This one needed it as well. So do we need to go and get more, or can we? Let's have a look. Number one still needs some. Okay. So we need another truckload. No trains. Come on, you're in reverse. There you go. Which one? Which one? Which one? Which one? We didn't do this one. Let's see, it's the one that's not growing any plants. G'day, Hodge One. Thank you very much for dropping in. You have a wonderful week as well. Okay, so that's you sorted. I can't remember if I talked to this on a or if we did this on here, but you can mount this winch that just comes on a crate on a fifth wheel on a dolly. So if you just want a mobile winch that's quite cheap to drag around, you can do it that way. And with its pulling capacity, it's really handy. I'd forgotten I had that there. That'd be a better winch to use than the one I've got on the front of the tractor at the minute, to be honest. Because at 10 tons, it can move multiple trees at a time. Hey, Tanner, good to see you. Welcome along. Right, up to the animal dealer, where we can sell off some more piglets. These are sort of 6 months old or 5 months old, so I reckon it's worth keeping them for at least that first 6 months rather than selling the newborns, because they comfortably increase in price. So we'll send another load of those up. You can go back to pigsty. I don't want you. Okay, so we need to Control T, so that you're not on the tab list. Just how are the cows doing over here? Milk needs delivering. Straw. The Unimog is still running, yeah. Thank you. I'll go and turn that off. Straw milk. Feed is fine. So we'll do delivery from there when we get a chance. We're running everywhere. Because it auto starts when we sit in them. Right, next job. Check the store. Yeah, so that dolly is usually quite cheap, and just mounting the winch on the back of it is looks a bit odd, but it's a really effective way to have a nice portable winch trailer to pull around if you need a winch. That roller looks pretty good. What do you, 3.5 meters? I reckon we might grab one of those. I reckon we might buy that. We can run that behind the little tractor. Silage bucket and the vent, not required. Okay. Let's, where's that train? Not in sight there. Really did put that manure in just the wrong spot. I didn't think about that at all. Am I in the trigger? I'm probably just not. That might be better. No. There it is. Now we sold, which ones? Oh, I've forgotten already which ones I sold. I think I sold the land race. So now I'm selling the black pied is the plan. We'll know because we can't take 20 if I only wanted to sell 16. That's all right. 16 black pied, thank you. I knew I could rely on Cranky to keep me on the straight and narrow. And we'll send you back up to the animal dealer. Dealer, go. What I might do, actually, don't worry about the fact that that's in there. Let's grab the dolly off here. Ah, wrong one. Might be a good way to finish off. I'll illustrate what I was talking about because I can't remember if I was here we did the experiment or not. It may well have been. You pop him on there like so. And then join him on, and now we've got a winch. And what's more, it's a 10-ton winch, so we can hook up multiple trees. And I think it'll actually work without being, we can test it out without being attached to a vehicle. The other thing is it's got a like 120 meter pull on it, so oops, let's get up there. If we do something like so, go to the winch. To even know if I need to turn it on that way. Left shift R to grab my winch rope. If I zip over here and so the problem we're going to have is a map problem. So I haven't finished going around and fixing all the trees, and as a result, lots of the ones we've cut down here don't show up as trees, which is just, oops, annoying. I thought I'd done more of the ones over this side. So if you run out of the range of your rope, it does tell you, as you just saw. Like so. Have I got any trees I can winch in range? Would appear not. Okay. Let's jump in the truck. Go up the top corner and see if I've got any up there. But just to be clear, this is not a winch issue, this is a map issue. We encountered this before. We're trying to put trees into chippers on this map. And let's see if any of these ones... Hello, what are you doing? Whoa! Okay. Well, that might be early into the stream. So there is a conflict in there with something because that just crashed us big time. So given that the time is about a couple of minutes from the end and we were having trouble with the trees, I'm going to call it quits there. Sorry about that. It could definitely be the trees that are causing that that issue. So I've not encountered a game crash like that. I mean, that's not just hung, that's completely died. There is no sign that the game was running. So that was somewhat unexpected. But nonetheless, I'll investigate with the trees. I won't try and diagnose it now in the last minute or two of the stream, and have it sorted for next time. But thank you very much, everyone, for popping in. It's been great to have you all through. Hope you're enjoying it. And we'll be back at the Oaks at the end of the week. So Thursday afternoon, evening for most of you in the UK, Europe and US, and Friday morning for me. So catch you later, everyone. Thank you. See ya.